brought along a crutch today because you were afraid you couldn't stand up on your own.
I know. Well, I just know so many cool people and I get bored of my own stuff. So I figure I'll invite cooler people than me on the show.
What is weren't going to do this as a monologue? I was going to be here. Are you saying that I'm not cool enough?
You said it. I didn't say that.
Introduce Ryan.
Ryan Eichler, welcome.
Hey, good morning, guys.
College buddy of mine who is off doing amazing things in South Dakota that is really setting the standard of how we should address one of the biggest issues and passions of mine, which is addressing food insecurity. And so, Ryan Eichler, would you say you're the founder of the Primetime Gala, the South Dakota Cattlemen's Foundation?
Well, I'm in that list at least, and so yeah,
you're right up there.
I'm on the list, yeah.
So you got a big event coming up, I hear.
Can you tell us about it? Yeah. So yeah, this June 18th in Sioux Falls will be our 9th annual Primetime Gala. And it's hard to believe that we've kind of come down the road this far with the event and with the donations and everything. But yeah, I just checked last night actually, and it's going to be the biggest event we've ever held. There could be 1,700 people there.
Wow.
In the banquet. So we're really excited about the event. And yeah, it's creeping up on us fast.
Brian, I'm just become more of a history buff every day. Take me back to the beginning. What was the impetus behind this starting? Well, Amanda already gave you credit for being the founder. So when did you have this idea?
The idea was actually spawned in 2013. And the idea came from where most good ideas come from, and that was at the bar after a cattlemen's meeting. And the South Dakota Cattlemen were really looking to do something just a little different, a little bigger. And really, as we explored some of the ideas for an event, we really wanted to do something that was outside of the industry and outside of, was just bigger than ourselves. And so we got in a car. There was 3 of us. We went to Sioux Falls one day. We toured 5 venues, each one bigger than the first. And we landed at the Sioux Falls Convention Center, and we decided that we were going to make it a big deal. And so year 1 was in 2014. We hosted a banquet with 940 people. There was a concert directly after that with Gary Allen, and we knew immediately when the banquet was over that we'd built something that would probably have a year or 2 at least. And so we'd set a really big goal that year to raise $100,000 for Feeding South Dakota, which is our state's low and food bank. And we eclipsed that mark by $15,000. And so we raised $115,000 the first year. Fast forward into year 9, we've raised $1.8 million for Feeding South Dakota. And with that, the stipulation that we've got on the food bank is they can only make purchases of beef with those dollars. And so leading up to this year's event, I'm really the most proud to announce that those guys have procured almost 1.2 million pounds of beef with the dollars. So they're a great organization. They're extraordinarily thrifty, and they do great work. They supply food in all 66 counties in South Dakota. And really, I think when we talk about food insecurity, the thing that makes the industry the most proud is when we started this event, Feeding South Dakota distributed about 12.5 million pounds of food, and only about 4% of that was actual animal protein. And so fast forward 9 years, they're going to distribute almost 15 million pounds of food. And along with us and some other commodity groups that have really stepped up to donate meat, milk, and eggs, almost 10% of that growing number is animal protein. So food insecurity doesn't look like what people think it does, and we're just trying to do our job to get the highest quality protein on people's plates that we can.
I was going to say on National Egg Day, we had to give a little nod to the eggs in addition to the beef.
Exactly.
Steak and eggs is always a good combo. And didn't I tell you that I have cooler friends than me? Like, hello, this is a slam dunk. This is one of my favorite outreach things that happen throughout the year when we talk about agriculture advocacy and telling our story. I always tell people, if we're going to change people's minds about who we are in animal agriculture in the beef industry, we have to start by changing their hearts and showing them who our hearts are and where our hearts are invested in. And I think this is just such a slam dunk way to tie in a lot of good community service and outreach and fellowship with people outside of agriculture. I mean, people that go to the concert following the auction and the meal and everything that happens at the primetime gala, they come from all walks of life, and they're there to celebrate with cattlemen and women and raise money for a great cause. And people can't help but feel good after they leave this event. And so I just think it's an incredible thing. And I love watching it grow each year.
You mean you've actually been invited before?
I've been invited a few times, although early on, like the first half of every year they have it in June, and I'm always calving in June. So I was like, I have a new baby, I can't come. So
why are you calving in June?
2014, Scarlett was born June 3rd.
Oh, okay.
And then 2016, Thorn was born June 4th, and I wasn't going to leave my 2-week-old baby, so I kind of had to cheer at home from afar.
Are those ET calves?
Yeah, and then Troy, end of May, like literally. So so I've been to some of them, not all of them, but it's an incredible event. Can people get tickets, Ryan? Can people still come?
Yeah, so the banquet is sold out.
Okay.
We will fill that banquet room, but there still are concert tickets. So a lot of the fun part of the evening. I mean, the banquet's awesome, right? There's a huge auction. Most of our politicians are in attendance. They've been great supporters, including Governor Noem. But the excitement is always around the concert, right? So after the banquet, we do offer public on sale tickets to the concert. This year is Hank Williams Jr. And there's a lot of excitement around the Country Music Hall of Famers. So we those tickets are still available for Hank.
Most people are just going to show up to see if he shows up.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I spoke with more grown men that are. It was just like. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, he has impacted a lot more people than I expected. And so there's a lot of people that are coming that are really excited to see Hank.
And it seems like the perfect person in today's time, because there's so many people that will give you lip service to what they think you want to hear instead of just saying what they're thinking. I don't think Hank Williams Jr. has ever just said what he thought you wanted to hear.
No, it doesn't appear that way.
And there is a tremendous appeal for anybody of that nature today.
Yeah.
Even if they're a chick from Mitchell that calves every June, they still want people that just say what they think instead of couching it in some way to try to be politically correct.
Yeah, I think that's rare in today's time, and I think it's refreshing.
So where can folks buy those tickets?
Yeah, the traditional channels, Ticketmaster.com. They can buy them at the box office at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls. But yeah, those tickets they're actually going fast. This will be the second largest concert crowd, I believe. That Toby Keith sold 10,000 tickets the year that he was there, and we probably won't quite approach that, but it's actually going to be our second largest concert. So.
Wow.
See, Ryan, you and I could go off in many different channels, but we've got that rudder named Amanda Radke. It always brings us back. All right, guys, but that's all fine. But where can people buy tickets?
Hey, friends. The saying goes that freedom doesn't come free, and without the brave men and women serving our country to protect our freedoms and liberties, everything that we love and hold dear in this country would be for naught. So to thank the troops, would you consider buying them a steak? Check out the All-American Beef Battalion. Since 2007, the late Bill Brody and his team of volunteers have served over 400,000 steaks to the troops and their families as a way to say thank you. Learn how you can get involved and support this organization by checking out steaksfortroops.com.
I got one question about the primetime gala.
Yes, sir.
It would seem like it would make sense to rotate it from like Sioux Falls, Pierre, Rapid in given years to kind of get more people vested. I understand where the population of South Dakota is as a whole, but why don't you rotate it?
There's actually a couple reasons. That building is the only building in the state that'll hold that many people currently. And so we've kind of thought about that. Year one, the goal was actually to model it after Nebraska's Cattlemen's Ball and try to hold it out on different operations.
Mm-hmm.
In year one, it rained 7 inches the day of the event, and it scared the hell out of everyone. And so we just kept it in Sioux Falls under the biggest roof in the state. So
well,
it's we kind of have thought about that.
That's problematic because you had it in Sioux Falls. It rains in Sioux Falls. If you had it scheduled for Phillip, it would never rain you out because it never rains in Phillip.
Correct. That's exactly right. No, you're not wrong there. It's something we've kind of thought about, but I think the crowd that everybody kind of enjoys traveling in. We get a high percentage of our attendees that'll travel in for the weekend, make a long weekend out of it. Sioux Falls is it's kind of a fun town, and it's something that we're probably not going to take her with for a while, at least, just because of the
I forgot that I got 2 East River enthusiasts with me today, so this is a jaded conversation.
Probably. But the Primetime Gala does attract people from out of state. You have a lot of people coming in, and there's just a real enthusiasm there. And it's cool because you should take your beef agriculture message to the biggest city in the state of South Dakota. That's where you should be.
No, you should take it to every part of South Dakota. You should take it to all 3 corners: Pierre, Rapid City, and Sioux Falls.
All right, Nebraska. We'll just
Hey, Ryan, do you know what I'm doing this weekend?
Tell me.
I am emceeing the Cattlemen's Ball of Nebraska for the 4th time, I might add.
Outstanding.
It is an incredible event. I mean, the energy of what you just described, and the first time I did the Cattlemen's Ball of Nebraska, it was at Donovan, Nebraska, and it rained 5 inches.
Yeah.
And we were finding every plank, every payloader, and making bridges. It was just incredible, but it didn't dampen the spirit. We still almost generated $1 million that weekend, and now we generate $2 million each week, and 100% of those proceeds go to cancer research. But beside all of that, what you're talking about, I totally relate to. How many times has Amanda emceed your event, by the way?
Oh, we're still waiting on that one.
Yeah, of course you are. And so from the standpoint of bridging rural and urban within any state, and obviously in this case, I've been looking at Nebraska, it's the greatest event because you have people from all 93 counties. We got, a third again as many counties as you do in South Dakota. But it brings everybody together for a common cause, beating cancer.
Yeah, it's that's the really unique thing about holding in the population center here too in South Dakota is, of course, the first year we think about this event almost doubling in size in 9 years, and it doubled in size quickly, right? I think on year 4 we're pretty much at capacity in that building, but the attendance has really changed from just people inside the industry to at a 10-person table now. There's a lot of folks that aren't industry professionals, right? They don't derive their daily income from agriculture, and I think it's so important to Amanda's point. It really is important to we talk about telling our story, we talk about helping people understand, but I think it really is a great way to humanize the business, right? And understanding that the people in that building they're in a business that is profitable. Sometimes it's not, but to gather and to really in that scope and raise that much money, we're not a foundation that's funded by a benefactor or 10 benefactors, right? All this money is raised completely by grassroots efforts. The people that are there spend their hard-earned money on tables, on this giant auction that local businesses have been so willing to donate to as well.
Talk about because every part of the event is great, but I feel like that crescendo is the presentation of the check at the concert. Tell about just kind of the energy and what happens with that part of the event.
Yeah, it's kind of unique. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of moving parts, but after that auction is complete, there's a spreadsheet that's we whisk it away into a small room to make sure that we've got our numbers correct. And then, of course, we've got the obligatory big check. And so we're able to negotiate with the entertainment that we go on stage right prior to the headlining act taking the stage. And we actually make the presentation to Feeding South Dakota in the Premier Center in front of, a big concert crowd. Beef Industry Council in South Dakota puts together a video that we show to the entire concert crowd as well about South Dakota beef. And that feeling is really unique because everybody's ready for the show. Everybody is excited. And, to present a check for over $250,000 last year was just awesome. And so it's a feeling that doesn't get old, and I don't foresee it ever will. It feels good to make sure that we're giving back.
Yeah.
Ryan, in today's world, clearly people are very generous and willing to give pretty much anything they have in their wallet and maybe more. But the question comes up more now than ever before is, where's the money actually going? How do I know the money is getting to the people in South Dakota that really need the food assistance? And are you just giving them a handout, or is this money going to help them long term? I'm sure you're getting that question all the time.
We do. And I think it was more in the beginning, obviously, because it was new. But Feeding South Dakota has a sterling reputation in our state. They were led by a person for, I think it was 15 years, and Matt Gasson, who there wasn't a better human being as a face of an organization. And the nuts and bolts of it are that we get an annual report basically showing us where every dollar and every pound of beef is sent. And so it's either a 4 or 5 star, whichever the highest star of charity rating is with the Charity Navigator system. But those guys operate on 2% of their budget. And so 98% of the money that organization receives goes to programming, and that those dollars are spent so efficiently. That's the people that give the money are actually become comfortable because they do have such a sterling reputation, and they get it distributed all over.
I want to share just a quick story and try to make it as quick as possible. So at Exarban Stock Show in 2019, Kelly and I started a program where we had a specific pig class where kids were given a pig. They brought the pig to Exarban Stock Show, and then we took the pigs all to Wahoo Locker, had a USDA stamp on it, and turned it 100% into ground pork. And I personally delivered this to places of need in South Dakota, Minnesota, Omaha, and Lincoln, Grand Island, and Kearney. And I wanted the kids to be a part of the process, including the video that they saw the pigs being processed and everything, Ryan, so that it was as educational as possible. But the education for this old boy came when I started getting into these places that were distributing the food. And what I found was very, very similar to our entire society today. The bigger named, better marketed places did not appreciate what I was doing. In fact, I went to one place, and I guarantee you 3 years later, I can go find some of my product in that storage facility, because they were getting all the local super center spill off. And so they didn't even really care. So I shorted them a couple of sticks of what I told them I was going to bring, right? Because I could see that they didn't appreciate it. Meanwhile, you go south of Hastings, Nebraska, a little community church that once a month brings people in and just feeds them. They were like, "Oh, thank you so much." There's a huge difference. And it's kind of like your primary coming up next Tuesday in South Dakota. Make sure you do your research, folks, on who these outfits are that are distributing this food, because there's a big difference.
There is, and it's really impactful. We spent some time in the food bank in Sioux Falls, but then all the partner agencies that they serve, because they're really just a distributor to a lot of local pantries. And what they do and the difference that they make, and seeing, it's a huge facility. And the biggest need for us that we saw in the beginning was lots of processed foods that are donated, shelf stable, a lot of those things. They're part of a huge network. But really seeing the small cooler in the corner of the building that had the most important food in it, that's when we knew we had to support them. And the partnership has been fantastic, and the industry's really proud of that relationship.
So I know we have to let you get to work, Ryan, but final website where people can check out more information about the Primetime Gala coming up.
Yeah, check us out on sdcattlemensfoundation.com. We're raffling off a 2500 Duramax, courtesy of Billy and Otto family. That's primetimegalaraffle.com. We'd love to see you there. Ticketmaster.com for Hank Williams Jr. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time this morning.
And Amanda Radke will be canning all the beef, making it available to these food pantries.